everybody please stand. We're going to have an opening prayer. And since there's been so much going on, we need to, there's a certain way that you welcome in the Lord. There's a certain way how you just don't pray. You have to welcome the Holy Spirit in this place. Just like when you, in your home, you have a visitor come, you have to welcome the visitor. That's the same thing. We have to give the respect to God. So I'm going to play this real quick so your spirit can quiet down, because there's been a lot of noise going on. I don't know if you can hear it. If everybody be quiet in the room, you can probably hear it a little bit. It's basically saying, you are my peace. So let's just take a moment and just concentrate on the Lord and all the goodness that He has done in your lives. Father God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this International Women's Day. Can everybody grab somebody's hand? Can you gather close and somebody grab somebody's hand? Please, grab somebody on one accord. Well, Father God, we thank you today. We thank you that you are here, oh God. We thank you for your presence, oh God. We lift up your holy name, Father God. Lord, I ask you to touch every speaker that will speak here today, Lord. Touch their hearts, touch their mind, oh God. Give them a fresh anointing, oh God. Let them speak from you that will glorify your kingdom, oh God. Let everyone here today, oh God, get something from this International Women's Day. Let them be empowered. Let them be inspired, oh God. Lord, we thank you for each and every soul here today as we worship you, and Lord, and as we go on through the day, oh God, as we disperse through the classes and the workshops, and we leave this place and we go home, let each and every person arrive to their destination safely. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Thank you. Okay, I'm pumped up now. My name is Lucy Cartagena Martinez. I want to thank you guys again for coming. We have a great lineup. We have awesome speakers. We're here to motivate and just shake you up and take you back so you go back home and you rise up and raise up. So I just want to start first by having acknowledgement of where we're at. I don't know if any of you have ever been here. This is the Oxnard Heritage Cultural Center. And we actually have, I thought the owner was going to be here, but we have Pat Tafoya, who oversees it. Awesome man. Awesome man. He has long roots. If you're from Oxnard, I'm pretty sure you know him from back in the days, but I'm not going to go there. And then we have Hector Palayo. He is with the Alianza de los Mexicanos Americanos. And that is one of, that's my fiscal sponsor for Families First. So I don't know if you're familiar with what I do. What I do is I go out and I do parent workshops in my community. I teach parents behavioral change so that we can have children graduating and better parents out here. Because I've learned the utopia, the key. Better parenting raises up better children, which children raise up the world. So I just want to start out and go ahead with our very first speaker, and that is Miss Ellenette. I don't know if you guys know Miss Ellenette. but some of us call it alley cat for a reason. So I'm gonna go ahead, she's on a lot of radio stations, a lot of clubs, a lot of concerts. And she also brought to raffle, which everybody's got a raffle, these awesome season pass to San Diego SeaWorld. So here is Miss Ellen.
Thank you, Lucy. I want everyone to give Lucy a round of applause for coming up with this excellent concept and bringing us all like working together in the community. I think that our time is now. You know, for a long time, I see some men out there, and we love you, we adore you, but we're starting to outnumber you guys, just so you know. And I think that it's time for us women to embrace our femininity and our own power within ourselves, so that we can heal our children and make a better future for all of us. And you know, of course, we need you wonderful gentlemen to help us with that, but yeah, we're pretty strong when we put our mind to it. I'm sure you all know that. So anyways, today, Lucy asked me to come and speak on health and wellness. Now, I didn't quite know what she exactly expected from me, but you know, I do an annual event. It's called Hot Mama Day, and it's a celebration of women. It's an empowerment, and I think that's kind of how we met, Lucy. Yeah, at Hot Mama, right? Yes, we're the American Cancer Society. I was doing a charity event for that, and it's grown into a thing that I've done. It'll be my 8th annual. If you guys look in your little baggies, you'll see a card, a reminder card. It will be May 9th this year. I'm doing it at Discovery Ventura in Ventura. So just be looking out for that. Check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you need to find out more information about Hot Mama Day and what I'm doing for that. It's a great day like this. It's about women. I was born on Mother's Day, and I was raised by women. And I celebrate them every year around my birthday, so it's such a blessing to be able to do that. And I just want to share something with you that, I don't know, maybe you might be amazed by it, maybe you're not. You'll be like, I got that, but I will be 40 years old on May 11th this year.
Mama.
Maybe that's why you're asking me to come and speak on health and wellness, because do you guys think I look like I'm about to be 40?
No,
I think that, you know, I am the new 40.
Yeah.
I am the new 40. I think that, you know, we as women, if we take care of ourselves and we love ourselves just enough, that, you know, we can stay looking fabulous. We can be looking as fabulous as we want for all of our lives. You know, we just have this light, this femininity, this power in us that we must embrace. And once we do that, and once we understand, you know, and me working in a very male-dominated industry as Nancy, she is a radio personality as well, so she works in a very male-dominated field. It's hard. It's very hard to work with men all the time because, you know what, in our culture, sometimes being a woman is looked down upon as something that's weak, or we're not strong as, but you know, physically, we're not as strong as men. We get that, we understand that. But the key is, mentally, sorry guys, we outsmart you every time. Every time we outsmart men. And you gotta embrace that. Our femininity, our strength comes from our heart and our souls and our ability to be vulnerable. That vulnerability that we have, and that softness and that nurturing that we have in our spirits, that's what makes us strong. So, okay, I don't know, I got up here, I think Tanya just led me on a path and I just started talking, but I really had something like planned and written out to say, like right here, I have it. See, you want to see my notes? I promise you I had something to say, I just didn't get up here and start talking. And Lucy said I was going to do this. Okay, oh man, she's got cards saying you're halfway, oh no. Okay, so I'm here to speak on health and wellness, okay? So, Hot Mama Day, yes, we all know, I raise money to support local cancer empowerment. You know, people that in this community that are dealing with cancer, it's such a huge thing. I lost my grandfather to cancer, and everyone has someone in their life that has been affected by this terrible disease. So I raise money for that every year. But what I wanted to talk about today was just general health and wellness, and there's four elements. You know, we all know that the universe is held by 4 elements, right? And those 4 elements are air, water, earth, and fire. Now, we've all heard about these things, and these things, they really connect the universe together. And if you think about it, you can put it into perspective to yourself. You know, like, for example, say we grow from the earth. You know, we eat things from the earth. You know, make an example like a tree. A tree pulls water from the ground, and a tree breathes air. And, okay, let me just break it down, okay, because let's start at the top. Air, okay? What air is our body needs to breathe in air. We need air, and it's something that breathing, we really take that for granted. Like, it's something that we just do naturally. And, you know, we don't really think about how much our body really needs oxygen. Our minds need oxygen to make it throughout the day. Now, have you ever just been angry at somebody? And, you know, you're like, and you're talking to your friend about, and you're angry, and next thing you know, you start feeling lightheaded because you're just so mad and you're angry and you're speaking, because we're not getting enough oxygen. So our bodies just need that to exist. So if you know how you put on your pants in the morning, or say, for example, you're having a thick day, I'll say a thick day, and you put on your pants in the morning, and you're like, you hold your breath in. That is not the correct, you know, like if they say, okay, breathe in, that's not the correct way to breathe in. When you breathe in, your body, your diaphragm and your lungs should expand. So I want everyone to put your hand right here on your diaphragm. Well, you know, I could talk to you later if you really want about it. Okay, so everyone put your hand here and breathe in. And when you breathe in, make sure you feel your diaphragm expel, like make it get bigger. So when you breathe out, it should collapse. Breathe in, it should expand, and breathe out, it should collapse. We don't understand how important breathing is to you every day. Your body releases toxins through your breath when you breathe out. So if you're angry, if you're mad, if you're having a hard day, and I always say to my girlfriends, breathe, breathe. Not this. That's not helping you breathe. Breathe in. Release all that bad energy and those toxins out of your body. And I know I'm probably already down to 1 minute. I'm done, huh? And I'm done. I'm sorry, can I keep talking? Can I keep talking, Lucy? Okay, I'll keep going, okay. Water. Drink water. Our body needs water. 60% of our body is made up of water. You need water to release toxins out of your body, to make sure your muscles function properly, and you need it to keep your skin looking gorgeous. You drink water, it hydrates you. Your skin is the biggest organ in your body, and you need some water to keep looking fine, okay? So you need that. Also, earth. Now, the earth, we live in this beautiful place called Southern California. Oxnard is one of the most beautiful communities that I grew up here. I've lived in Oxnard, I grew up here, I go outside, and if I drive 5 minutes one way, I hit the beach. I can turn this way and I can see the beautiful mountains. Now, what other place on the earth can you drive an hour and go to the snow, drive the other way another hour and you're at the beach? It's a beautiful place that we live here. So go out and take off your shoes and stand in the grass. You know, absorb the earth. Eat from the earth. I know you guys like your, hot, flaming hot Cheetos. It's not bad to have those every now and then, but we need to eat fruits, we need to eat vegetables, we need to eat things of the earth. It replenishes us. We get all of our nutrients from our food. It's very important. So I did air, I did water, I did earth. Now I want to do fire. Now, fire, it is the light. It's the light that we get from the sun. Your body needs to absorb the sunlight because if you absorb the sunlight, you get your vitamin D, which helps you build stronger bones with calcium. We all know that, but the sun, it's an amazing mood changer. Like, if you ever been having a crappy day, you go out in the sun and you just put your face up to the sun, it's like, there's no better feeling than to feel the actual light from this good universe feeding your soul through the sun. But also fire. Fire is our passion. Fire is our creativity. Fire is what, God put in us. Fire is God that's within us. So as women, as we, what is your passion? What is your desire? What is your drive? Why do you get up every day? I get up every day because I want to be able to influence children and women to be better. And with women, when we are good, we grow good things. We grow good things. We can create things like this, and we can grow up beautiful children like that awesome little boy I see with the awesome blue eyes back there. Oh man. And what is your passion? Is it your child? Is it your children? Is it giving them a better life? Is it giving them something better than you had? Well, those are the 4 elements. They're all tied together. And I hope that I actually said something awesome to you today that you can take and move on. If not anything, just breathe. It's so important. Thank you.
Tell me you cannot hear her all day long. I love her. She's on Q1047 and 95.9. I switch both of them so I can hear her all day long. I'm not like I'm a stalker. Some call it stalking, but you can't prove it. And then I follow her on Facebook and everything else. Yeah, I'm not weird. But anyway, the ladies actually have to go to the green room now so they can do their interviewing. So you'll be going over there for filming. So now we have another awesome speaker that I silently stalk. I'm going to let you guys know right now, I silently stalk a lot of you. So I'm just putting it out there. So you can't prove it because I do things like this and that would make it look good. So now we have an awesome new mother, going to be Miss Nancy Rodriguez Hernandez.
Thank you so much for being here. Lucy, thank you so much for putting this event together. I'm actually really excited to be here surrounded by so many awesome women here today, not just on the panel, but just here in this room. And I think one of the things that the previous speakers have touched up on is, and I think this is going to be the constant trend throughout the conversation today, it's just the future, right? Children are the future. I'm 5.5 months pregnant, and I didn't believe, you always hear about how your life's gonna change when you become a mom, and now I see what everybody's talking about. I wanted to help before, and I was involved in the community before, but now that we found out we're having a baby boy 2 weeks ago, so we're super excited. But now that we're expecting a baby, now we see things even bigger and different, and we want to get involved. So for myself, I've been involved with Prom Dress Project. I'm involved with a couple of organizations in the community. I got to remind you, May 9th, you have to come out to Hot Mama Day, because my family and I, now my husband's family and I, which is now my family too, we come out like 10, 15 people, and people say we always win all the prizes at the fundraiser.
Oh, I forgot.
We do.
I forgot to say that.
Yes, that's why I'm bringing it up, because it's a very important, this is such a great event, Hot Mama Day, which helps out cancer patients. And May 9th is the event, and you gotta come out because it's a lot of fun. It is a fundraiser, but you have so much fun. It goes on for a couple hours, and I come out every single year with a family because it turns out to be this great big day. And you make a donation and you win a lot of cool prizes. We do every year. Now Lucy was saying we win a lot of stuff, but we do spend a lot of money too. So it kind of works out in the end. So Hot Mama Day, May 9th. Now I'm here to talk about Prom Dress Project. My prom was in '98, so it was a while back. Who here still remembers their prom night? Raise your hands. Yeah? Okay. For those of you who don't remember your prom night, is it because you didn't go to prom? Or because, yeah, you didn't go, okay. Who didn't get to go to prom here? Okay. There's a lot of girls, I mean, nowadays, it's really hard to go to prom. Why? Because it's pricey. For the guys, you guys have it easy. The average price for a guy, the amount you will spend on prom is about $200. So tuxedo rental, right? That comes with the shoes. You gotta get some flowers for the girls.
Better buy
okay?
the tickets too.
Yeah, and the tickets go for like 100 to like 150 now. Okay, for women, do you think it's more than $200?
Oh, yeah.
More than 3?
Yeah.
More than 4?
Yeah.
More than 5?
Mm,
So the average price, okay, the cost of prom for a woman or a girl is $500. $500. So we're talking about the prom dress, right? So if we lowball it, $100, right? 100. You can find a nice dress for maybe even 75, $100, right? Lowballing it.
Yeah.
Then you got, right, let's go back to the tickets. Tickets, $100, $150. Then you gotta buy shoes, then you gotta get your hair done, your makeup, nails, right? It's a whole package. Okay, so $500 is what we're talking about. And there's a lot of girls out there who cannot afford prom because of this. It's gotten ridiculous. It's gotten really expensive. And so with Prom Dress Project, who here is familiar with Prom Dress Project? Okay, so there's a couple of you. Okay, good. So hopefully you guys can help us out. So Prom Dress Project, what we do is we collect new or used dresses, and then we give them out to girls who cannot afford a prom dress. And it's, who still has a prom dress? Who's still holding on to that? Okay, I think it's about time. You gonna donate that dress?
I can still fit it.
You're gonna wear it. It's a
I
question.
wore it twice. I
Because see,
did.
that's what everybody says. Everybody says, well, I still fit in it, or one day I will fit in it. And truth is, you're probably not gonna wear
I
it.
wore it 2 times.
Was it for like Halloween or?
No,
did you-
We had an event and it was a prom theme.
Okay.
So I wore my prom.
Okay, so it's a prom thing, so it's kind of like a costume party.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
but it
But
still look
sure-
good.
Okay,
I
I'm
still
sure
look
you still look good in it. But what I'm getting at is a lot of women hold on to that prom dress, and I get it because you spent a lot of money on this
Oh, yes.
dress, right? So you don't want to just give it away. I get that. So there's like a sentimental value to it. I get it. But truth is, it's gonna sit there for years, and you're probably not gonna wear it again. So why not donate it to someone who could probably rock it to prom, right? So that's where we're going with this. We've been collecting prom dresses since 2009. How this all came about was we linked up with Pacifica High School. They created a similar program, so Ariel's Closet. It started as a very small program at Pacifica High School. Then we partnered up with them, and we expanded it to the county because we thought it was such a great movement and such a great organization. We thought, why not help out the rest of the county instead of just one high school? So that's what we've done since '09. I mean, we've collected, I'd say, a few thousand dresses and given these dresses out to girls. So our biggest challenge for us was, okay, so how do we get these girls to come out and pick up a dress? Because one of the biggest challenges is girls, truth is, some girls are still a little embarrassed, right? If you need help and it's a used dress, they're not just gonna come out. That's just kind of how it goes. But, so what we managed to do with Prom Dress Project is we bring all the dresses to a high school. This year we're doing Pacifica High School and Fillmore High School. We bring the dresses, we get a DJ, we get girls who can do makeup, who can do hair and makeup demos throughout this event. So it turns out to be a huge event. And it's not just them coming out to get a dress, it's them coming out to hang out with their friends, family, they'll bring their boyfriends. I mean, every year we get at least 150 to 200 girls who come out.
Wow.
Yeah, and we love it because a lot of the times, you know, they'll come out and even if they don't need a dress, they'll come out to support their friends. And I think as humans, that's one of the things we want to give back. We want to support one another. And I think as women, again, I'm so honored to be here and be surrounded by so many great women, and men too, but it is International Women's Day, right? So it's what we're celebrating. And so with Prom Dress Project, so how do you help, you ask? I know some of you are wondering how you can help. If you go into your little bag, my business card is in there. Send me an email. You can either, there's one drop-off location in Ventura, and that's Cumulus Media, and that includes B95, 103.3 The Vibe, Nash Icon, and 100.7 KH. And we're in Ventura, right behind the old Target on Main Street, so if you have a dress to donate, you can drop it off there during regular business hours, or send me an email and I can arrange a pickup time. Okay, we're collecting dresses for 3 more weeks, so March 29th is your deadline. Again, if you have a dress, if you have your prom dress sitting in your closet, Helenette, you don't have to dry clean it, we'll take, it'll be fine. The girls, they'll be okay if it's
I've donated like 5 dresses.
I know you have, you've helped out, you've always helped out,
Yeah,
so
but
thank
my
you.
prom dresses.
Okay, I'll give you a couple more years. So if you have a prom dress, that's one way you can help. If you are a makeup artist, or you are a hairstylist, or you know someone who would like to volunteer during our dress fitting events at Fillmore High School or Pacifica, send me an email. Or if, what was the last one? Hold on, so I covered that. Okay, so, or if you need a prom dress, or you know someone who needs a prom dress, send me an email, and we'll make those arrangements. Now, Fillmore is having their event at, April 3rd is their event at Fillmore High School, and it'll be after school. And then Pacifica High School, I believe, is having it a week later. But I'll make sure to post all that information on our Facebook page. So you'll have all that information. How am I on time? I haven't even checked over there. Oh, it's over. Okay. So Prom Dress Project, you can look us up on Facebook. So sorry, I totally... you can go to Facebook, or you can send me an email. Again, my business card is in the bag, so just feel free to send me an email or look me up on Facebook, and we'll stay in touch. Awesome. That's pretty much it. Thank you so much.
Aren't they awesome women? I wanted to tell you guys, when she brought up the makeup and everything, we actually have representatives here from Mary Kay that will be doing free makeovers in the lunchtime entertainment. So your band that you're holding on to, that you have on, is because we have a taquero coming at lunchtime to feed you guys. So we're hoping you stay, and then we have an awesome group called Dieras Massage and some, I can't even say it, Somatic something, but they're going to be doing massages downstairs too, to pamper our beautiful women and men. So they're only requesting if you have a couple donations, whatever, give them, but I've had the privilege of working with the majority of these women with the American Cancer Society for a lot of years, and I enjoy doing positive things like this, and I'm sure you guys do too, because that's why you're here. So I'm going to pass this now to the co-sponsor, which came all the way from LA, and she's a Director of Policy Advocate with the ACLU, and we all know we cannot do anything without civil liberties out here backing us up. So this is Miss Clarissa Wu, and I can't even say her last name, Hermosillo.
Speakers already, and Lucy and all of the great planning to bring this event together. So I have a couple of goodies first that I wanted to pass out. Sure, that works. The palm cards are in English and Spanish.
Okay.
So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for this wonderful event. It's great for me, who I'm not a native of Oxnard or Ventura County. I actually grew up in the San Gabriel Valley in Los Angeles, but I've been working with the ACLU of Southern California for quite some time, and to be here as we're all joining together to really embrace our power and our passions and really put them to work, because we have so much that's before us to work on. So I'm going to talk with you. Lucy asked me to talk about a good number of issues: voting rights, women's equality, and the importance of constituent advocacy. So I'm going to blend those all in today, if you all don't mind. And I think it is actually quite fitting to talk about all of these issues as we are gathering, because today actually marks the 50th anniversary of the March on Selma, also known as Bloody Sunday, which ties in the very brutal police attacks on peaceful demonstrators who were marching from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama, 50 years ago, fighting for the right to vote. We know that voting rights is critical to really engaging in all of the issues that are confronting our communities, as well as the overall progress for our communities, country, and beyond. We also, I'm happy to be here on the eve of Women's Empowerment Day, or Women's International Empowerment Day, to talk about a lot of the progress that we've made in California, but where we really need to march forward across the nation. So just a little bit of background about the ACLU. The American Civil Liberties Union is one of the oldest advocates fighting for to defend the rights entitled to everyone in this country based on the Constitution. We're fighting for civil rights and civil liberties, have been doing so for more than 90 years, and we do our work through the courts, the legislatures, and in our communities. And we work to pursue liberty, justice, and equality for everyone. A little bit about the ACLU's work on reproductive justice and gender equality. We work to ensure that people have access to not only comprehensive, affordable, and quality health care and reproductive services, but also to make sure that your personal decisions are kept confidential, and that reproductive justice means not only access to health care and services, but also the ability to raise your families and to provide for them in a respectful and environment where everyone truly is equal. And that's why we work on things like expanding living wages, not just minimum wage or poverty wages, but we work for full economic justice and equality to make sure that people are able to take care of their families, not just choosing between a paycheck and taking care of folks when they get sick. So I know that in my presentation, I think I put together people's health records in the new world of the Affordable Care Act, but we are also expanding access to reproductive health care services in areas where there are not enough providers to be providing reproductive health care services and early abortions. So we've been passing laws to really make sure that everyone, no matter where you live in the state of California, you do have access to that confidential care when you need it. But we do still have a lot of work to be doing here in California. We are working this year to improve comprehensive sex education in our public schools throughout the state. We're trying to update those laws, as well as we're trying to repeal a very discriminatory law called the Maximum Family Grant Rule, which I know that the member here is very supportive of, making sure that we are not keeping women and families of color in poverty just because of these very discriminatory and very racist laws that have been on the books for decades. And we're also working, like I mentioned, to fight for living wages and paid sick days for every worker in California, so that we can fulfill this real agenda of economic justice and reproductive justice. They're so intertwined. So moving on and touching or intersecting all of the issues of women's equality and voting rights, and all of our issues, they're so intersecting. I wanted to talk a little bit about voting rights today and where we've come from. You know, as I mentioned, 50 years ago today marks the Bloody Sunday march that we would very much not have liked to happen in our history, but it really does show the struggle then for voting rights and the struggle that we're now confronting today. 50 years after Martin Luther King's March on Selma, we're still fighting for voting rights. We have seen the Federal Voting Rights Act dismantled, which has allowed for state-by-state efforts to roll back access to the vote. We've seen voter ID laws across the country, as well as early voting opportunities being rolled back. Those are things that, fortunately, in California, we are not facing, but we do face a lot of our own challenges to make sure that everyone gets to the ballot, gets informed, and knows about the important, critical act of voting. So in California, we are, as the ACLU of California and many of our partners, we're leading the fight against disenfranchisement. Specifically, we know that in California, we rank actually 45th in the nation with the highest number of eligible people who do not vote or do not register. We have 6 million people in California who are eligible to vote, to register to vote, but who have not done so because of various barriers that are both systemic and then also just making sure that we're talking to one another about the importance of voting. So in California, many people actually mistakenly believe that California is a safe haven for voting rights. But like many other states, we really have to take affirmative steps to make sure that vulnerable populations of voters know that they can actually vote or re-register to vote. And our ACLU of California Voting Rights Project is actually working on these steps every single day through the community, through the state legislature, as well as in the courts. So for instance, many of you may be familiar with the National Voting Rights Act, which requires public assistance agencies to offer voter registration opportunities to clients that they serve. So in California, we've been working with women, infants, and children offices and the WIC department specifically to establish best practices to make sure that agencies who are doing enrollment in our communities are also knowing that they have this authority, this power to ask people who are eligible to vote if they would like to register. So this is a common sense solution that we've been working on, and we've been very successful. Because of some of these efforts, we were really increasing voter registration by about 164% from just a few years ago. We have also been in the new world of Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act, which we are, as the ACLU of California, very supportive of in terms of increasing access to healthcare services. We have been working with the State Health Benefits Exchange to make sure that voter registration is offered when people are enrolling in new coverage for their healthcare. So I know I am running out of time, but Lucy also wanted me to touch on the importance of advocacy and constituent advocacy, as you all are community members and have a very important voice. You have a couple of elected representatives here with you today, and they will also agree with me in saying how important it is to lift up your voices, to lift up your concerns, and to do so in very critical ways. So the ACLU of Southern California, I've passed around different volunteer sign-up cards, but we offer trainings on like Advocacy 101 trainings and how to engage. But the most important thing is to really know that your voice matters in this process and that what you have to say, your concerns also have a very, very key role in how we shape tomorrow. So I would love to talk with you all more. There's more in your packets about what we do and how we do it, but just knowing that what we all can bring to the table in terms of the positive change we want to see is definitely there. And then lastly, I just wanted to leave you with a quote that I read recently by Reverend Jesse Jackson, who has really lifted up the challenges that we have, not only with voting rights in Selma, but just the challenge to ourselves. And he wrote, "What Selma reminds us is that justice isn't handed down by the powerful. It isn't the gift of the mighty. Justice is forged by the constant struggle of ordinary heroes, citizens who decide to make history, not merely commemorate it. And surely we need a new generation of citizens to march on. And I really do feel like that is our charge and that is our fight ahead, and I hope that I can join that charge with many of you.
I'm a firm believer of voter, I'm sure most of you are. I can't advocate it enough, I can't work it enough, and I'm the crazy ones, just like most of you, that we're all knocking and calling random people, because we have to, especially as women. I do believe we can make shift change. And I forgot to mention that the wonderful art display all around you at this beautiful Heritage Cultural Center, Mr. Pete brought some pieces that for today and for this event only are the print piece for $10 only. So I'll show them out at lunchtime, and you're able to buy a few of these prints for $10 only today and only at this event. So I'm going to pass it on to one of our wonderful women heroes, sheroes, that has done so much, and I can't even talk about her enough because you all know her. Our most famous superwoman, Miss Carmen Ramirez.
Thank you, Lucy. I like to time myself because I know after about 5 minutes you start thinking about what you're going to have for lunch. That was a perfect segue to what I think our vision should be. I want to lift the concerns a little from a little local to go global, but mention, as I mentioned to Senator Jackson, who's here, who's one of our best advocates for everything in the state of California. We're so lucky to have her. We, in Los Angeles, had a very important election. Los Angeles might be the most important city in the world. And a lot of us come from there, a lot of us have roots there. I have very ancient roots in Los Angeles, and only 8% of the voters voted in that massive election they had last week. That is disgraceful, sad, and something needs to be done. We're doing a little better here in Oxnard and Ventura County. This is a very important date to commemorate globally the International Women's Day. And I want to talk about that, about what a lot of the women I see here and men here in this building right now have been involved in some very important efforts to save our future. And I'm thinking about Shirley Godwin back there, Irma Lopez, Barbara Maggie Ortiz, Peggy Rivera, Lupe Anguiano, Alice Madrid, Ken Costa, lots of people, Wendy back here. So it's really nice. I'm going to be recognized for some of my work, but you know you absolutely cannot do this by yourself. You have to have a team. It takes a village. And in our world, unfortunately, women do not, and girls do not get their rights and respect that they need. Now, why is that important? You know, the Chinese have a saying, women hold up half of the sky. So if you cannot keep that half healthy, powerful, strong, respected, the sky's gonna fall. And it's been falling. And we luckily, my friend Margaret Cortese here has, would you please stand up, Margaret? She has something that is, she has the no LNG button, which I also retain at my home. And Margaret and many of you were involved in that struggle to keep that dirty, dangerous adventure from coming to our coast. And you know, they told us we needed it, right, Dr. John? We needed it. We had to have it. The lights are going to go out. It turns out we didn't need it at all. And now we would be exporting it at the cost of destruction of our precious coastal wetlands and potentially the Santa Barbara Channel, which we all depend on, like it or not. So do you want to change the world? Do you want to make the world a better place? Yes. The way to do this is the education of girls, the empowerment of women all over the world. 60 million girls on our planet are denied the right to education. The right to education, the right to control of their bodies. We have child brides, we have women's slavery, we have terrible things happening to women. We cannot afford, the planet cannot afford to have half of the population disrespected, put into slavery, and the loss of all of their intellect, their economic power, the way they raise their children lost to the future. So I want to encourage everybody to think about that. We have to get busy and get our girls educated. They do not want to see their sons and daughters sent to useless wars. They want to see a healthier environment. And I will just say that environment has to be, it's not just about having lovely open space where none of us can enjoy it. It is about our own health. We are part of nature. We have to protect what's ours. We have to be stewards of where we live. And that's what we're doing here in Oxnard. We are working to restore our wetlands, the Ormond Beach wetlands. We're working to keep power plants off our coast. We have a proposal to put a 4th power plant on our beach. No way, I say. Let's see what happens, but we need you to stay engaged. There was a woman named Wangari Maathai, who's an African Nobel Peace Laureate. What did she do? She saw the poverty in her community, I believe it was Kenya. She saw the deforestation caused by a lack of development, lack of proper fuels. The people were cutting down their forests for cooking fuel. What did that mean? That meant that it was a change in environment there. It got hotter. People had less water because there wasn't a watershed. What did she do? She did what she could do in her own little plot of land, and it grew. She planted trees. She planted a forest, and it brought back a more nurturing environment. And that's what we have to do. What can we do here? Maybe you can't do what I and Senator Jackson do, and some of us do. Maybe you cannot devote yourself to that. You have to raise your children, really one of the most important jobs. Raise them well, raise them healthy, pay attention. But you can make a phone call, you can care, you can let your legislators and representatives know how you feel. And I grew up in the San Gabriel Valley also. And San Gabriel Valley, we were suffering from poor air quality. And yet just a couple of days ago, Los Angeles Times printed a story about how children are much healthier now. They have healthier lungs because we clean the air up. You'd have a lot of people saying, oh, well, that's just tree hugger business. We don't need to do that. But listen, it has an impact on our kids. We have a school here in Oxnard area, Rio Mesa, which is the most highly, it is the school in the state of California that has the most exposure to toxic pesticides because of agriculture around it. It affects our children. It affects the farm workers. It affects their children. And it affects the food we eat. We have to pay attention to this stuff. So much more to say. And let's see, where am I now? Oh, I'm at 7 minutes. I think I'm about done. I want to say I've been privileged to be in the right place at the right time. And can't do it without all of the help of everybody here and beyond. And if it's not me, who's going to do this work? If it's not you, who's going to do this work? And if it's not now, when? So seize the time. We have a lot of work to do, and thank you for being with me on this journey.
That's my girl. We have a special treat for Carmen today. We had the Ventura Sierra chapter that wants to present her awesome award. So we have Jim Hines, if you guys are familiar with him, and Elizabeth.
Can all of you hear me if I don't use the microphone? I like to walk around and wave my hands. I'm a pretty loud mouth. Anyway, welcome all of you. Wow, empowerment of women. I love that. I can't tell you the number of times that I've been privileged to travel to some of the most spectacular wild areas on this planet to work on wildlife conservation issues. There are areas that are third world countries though, and I've seen not only the greatest spectacular scenic beauty and the greatest wildlife on earth, but I've seen the worst of human conditions. And I can't tell you the lack of empowerment, the lack of rights of women in third world countries, and how that has literally ruined whole societies and communities. The crimes against women that some of us have seen in those countries are unbelievable. There are countries that I've been in that snakes have more rights than women. But you know, there's inspiration out there as well. I met a woman when I was only 18, traveling with my parents on a wildlife conservation project close to the Serengeti National Park in Tanzania. A woman named Kenyatta. She's in a village. It was very poverty-stricken. Women were abused. And I went back 10 years later. That same woman, through some sort of miracles, had grasped the power given to her and energized her community. She was the leader of her tribe and village. She developed one of the first ecotourism businesses in Eastern Africa, showing her community that they could make money not by destroying the environment, but by preserving it for people to come and see and enjoy. That gave her the stature to run her community, to make decisions with other women in her community. So there's great inspirational stories out there all across our planet on women who have been unempowered, who are now becoming empowered. It's been talked about already on the situations with women empowerment in the United States. But it's going to be really exciting in November 2016 when we elect the first woman president of the United States. In the early history of the Sierra Club and the environmental movement, women have played a great part. Women are the nurturers, the birth givers, the literal mothers of our planet. You give life, you nurture life. And without you, we would have a worse planet than we have today. We see death and destruction on this planet. Without preserving clean air, we're all sickened. Without preserving clean water, we're also sickened and become ill. Women are inspiring many of us men to do positive and creative things to protect the environment. But in the early years of the environmental movement, which has mostly been focused on the great efforts of men in the environment, many women have silently been there supporting the efforts of people like our founder of the Sierra Club, John Muir, whose first campaign was to protect the great wild place in the Sierra Nevada mountains, a place you and I love today as Yosemite National Park. He was aided by Yvonne Carather, a businesswoman in San Francisco in the late 1800s who worked hard to create what we now know as Yosemite National Park and other national parks across our nation as well. August Murie, who also lived in San Francisco, worked diligently in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s to protect the great wild national parks of Alaska that we all love today. And who among us has not read Silent Spring by Rachel Carson? He shot up the first red flag on the disasters of poisonous chemicals such as DDT, malathion, and others that still exist today. That book is still relevant today as when she wrote it many decades ago. And we have local female environmental leaders right in our community. I represent the Sierra Club's Los Padres chapter, which encompasses Ventura and Santa Barbara County, and we have women environmental leaders throughout the membership groups of our chapter and activist women who are working hard on many issues, from preserving marine mammals, stopping fracking operations, Ormond Beach, other issues throughout the chapter region as well. And in March each year, you want me to use the microphone? It's going to get really loud. And in March each year, United Americans celebrate something called Women's History Month. And we think of women political leaders, women authors, nurses, Women have contributed many things to our society. But women have been important in contributing, as I mentioned, to the environmental movement as well. It's only fitting that our local Sierra Club group, the Ventura Sierra Club, which represents the area of Western Ventura County, chose to give out an award for a woman activist in March of this year at this event. And we've chosen Oxnard resident and Oxnard Pro Tem Carmen Ramirez. Carmen, as most of you know, is a longtime resident of the city of Oxnard, is an attorney who's been an environmental activist and social justice activist for many, many decades. Carmen was elected to the Oxnard City Council in 2010 and re-elected in 2014. She is now the Mayor Pro Tem of the city of Oxnard, and Carmen has provided magnificent leadership in protecting the last undeveloped coastal wetlands in Southern California, Ormond Beach, just south of the city. Carmen has been a strong advocate for the Environmental Protection Agency to clean up the toxic Halico waste site at that property. And Carmen, through her work on the Ventura County Air Pollution Control Board, has made sure that we have clean air for everybody to breathe in Ventura County. And Carmen's work to galvanize the other 4 members of the City Council to oppose power plants sitting on the beautiful coastal beaches of Oxnard is unequaled. But the big thing that made me fall in love with Carmen was the fact that Carmen has a special place in her heart for wildlife. Every time I send out an action alert asking people to write emails to decision makers to protect the voiceless among us, which is our wildlife, or attend a public hearing and speak out for wildlife, Carmen is always there. Carmen has a special spot and works very hard to protect our wildlife. So we'd like to give this award to Carmen Ramirez. Carmen. In giving the award to Carmen is Ventura Sierra Club board member Elizabeth Lamar of Oxnard, who's a very active activist.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Sierra Club. Thank you, my friends, for being here. I will just say, thank you for saying that about the wildlife, because a lot of people might know that, as I said before, I grew up in San Gabriel Valley, and my playground was the San Gabriel River, as well as Rio Hondo River, where I go with my 6 brothers and sisters and just hike down there and get the tadpoles and watch the birds, and my mother would be afraid we would drown. You know, it was about 6 inches of water. Didn't drown. And I just feel that we are part of nature, and if we don't respect nature, we don't respect ourselves. And I'll just say this: yesterday, my sister sent me a photo of a mountain lion that had run through Temecula parking lot. She lives down there. And this poor animal, forced out of its habitat into our habitat, was over-tranquilized and didn't make it. And do we really want to live in a world where it's all concrete, jungle, no forest, no birds singing? We would be depriving ourselves and our children and future generations of the beauty of nature, which we are part of. Thank you very much.
That was awesome. I love these things. We're actually not done. Miss Selena, could you please get back up here?
Me?
Yeah. Your grandma's here to see her granddaughter up here in motion, so I don't know what you're doing over there, bothering your grandmother.
I was sorry about my grandma.
This is for Miss Carmen sat down, but I'm getting her back up here.
What are we doing? Oh, now I have the privilege of introducing our wonderful Senator Hannah-Beth Jackson. I've known Hannah-Beth since she was, along with her husband, Judge George Eskin, legal force in our Ventura County when she was, I don't want to say just a lawyer, because she was a spectacular lawyer. Anybody who found out she was on the other side, you know, they were shaking in their boots. She was a very strong, terrific advocate for her clients. Now she's an advocate for us. She's an advocate for women for working people, for moms, for all of our rights and the environment. So it's an honor to introduce my friend, Senator Hannah-Beth Jackson.
Well, being a recovering lawyer and not having to do so, I don't have a stop clock here, but I do have staff in the back, and when I've gone on too long, just give me that, that one I'm familiar with. I'm delighted to be here. First of all, walking in and seeing that you have childcare, so that people can come today is just not just a stroke of genius. It's an obvious stroke of genius, but something we have to remember and do, you know, as women and with a few good men. We are the ones who raise our kids. And we definitely want our male partners and our partners in general to be part of all this. But at this point in time, it is still primarily our job. And it's the most important job, actually, that we have. Because it is our responsibility to teach the next generation how to respect each other, how to respect the planet, how to work together, how to improve everyone's circumstances, so that we all have the opportunity, as we live here in California in the United States, to be able to live the great American dream, which means that if you work hard, you do your best, and you play by the rules, there is nothing you cannot achieve. That's really what the hope of this country is. But it is a hope that is long in tooth, if you will. We've been talking about it for years, but we haven't accomplished it yet. And so recognizing, too, that as Carmen said, women hold up half the world, we've got to make sure our voices are strong. We've got to make sure that we don't accept less than what we deserve, and that we recognize that we deserve every bit as much as anybody else. And so I want to start with that, because this year, as the chair of the Legislative Women's Caucus, I have just introduced a bill that will call for equal pay for women. You know, this is an issue that I've been working on for about 35 or 40 years, just an overnight issue. And I don't know how many of you saw the Academy Awards, but the woman who won as Best Supporting Actress for a brilliant role she did in a film called Boyhood, which was filmed over 12 years. I mean, it's a sort of a groundbreaker within the industry itself. Got up and in front of 1 billion people, because that's how many people watch the Academy Awards, did her thank yous and all, holding that statue of equal work, paid equal wages for equal work. And that moment has sparked what we will see going forward. We heard the President of the United States talk about it. We heard Hillary Clinton talk about it. And my favorite, Meryl Streep, got up and went, "You go, girl, you go, girl." And that's what I say to each of you boys, and you go, girl. It is time that we stood up and said, look, this isn't an era back when my grandma had pin money. Any of you remember the story about pin money? My grandpa was the primary wage earner in the family. He did pretty well. In fact, you see that piece of artwork over there, the Bill of Rights? Well, he didn't write the Bill of Rights, but that's his artwork. Right there. That is a replica of the Bill of Rights as he, through his artistic talent, interpreted it. He was an immigrant who came from Eastern Europe back in the early 1900s. As he would say, there were no flower pots in his area there. There's another way of saying it, but I'm in mixed company, so I won't say it. But he came from a family who literally left with just the clothes on their back. And he came to this country, and he had the opportunity to go through the largesse of a philanthropist in Boston. I don't come from the San Gabriel Valley, and if we share a glass of wine together, I'll start parking my car in Harvard Yard, because I grew up right outside of Boston. There was a philanthropist who understood and recognized he had a talent, sent him off with a train ticket, $20, and a scholarship to the Chicago Institute of Art, and he came back, And his first account was Harvard University, and he did all their diplomas by hand for 50 years. Sometimes working up to 22 hours a day during what he called his busy season. And he became, he became successful. I mean, we all have different definitions, but his way of paying back to this country was to do a series of what he called his patriotic pieces, and the Bill of Rights was one of them. So he inculcated in his children and his grandchildren that notion that if you do your best, there's nothing you can't do. And today, if he were alive, I think he would be so proud, not only to see his grandchild, but his granddaughter as a state senator for the great state of California. And if I can do it, you all can do it. So, here's my grandpa. And I think, knowing the kind of work he did, he would be outraged that women are paid less for the same work or comparable work than men are. Why? Just because of their gender. And that is not okay. It wasn't okay 50 years ago, and it certainly isn't okay today, because women today are not just working for pin money, as I mentioned my grandma did. A little something they'd stuff down here with a little cloth with a few dollars in it, and if we were out and I'd ask for something, she'd check to see if she had a little pin money and could pay for it. Today, it turns out that 1.7 million households right here in the state of California are headed by by women. They are the primary breadwinners. Of that number, 28% are women-headed householder only, single women. And those women live in poverty. 428,000 households headed by single women today in California live in poverty. They need that money. They work for that money. We work for that money. We should be paid equally for that money. So that's where we're headed this year. So that's SB 358. We're still working on it. Anytime you try to make change, and that isn't change of a dollar bill, if you try to make change, there are obstacles in the way. There are things we're going to have to do. We're going to have to sit down and listen to the concerns of the business community. How do we determine what's comparable? I'll give you an example. You go to a hotel, and you have a housekeeper and a janitor. The janitor's going to be making more money than the housekeeper. Is the work that much harder? I don't think so. You tried to kind of tuck in one of those heavy mattresses at a hotel these days? Why is it that the janitors are paid more? Well, because they're men, and the housekeepers are women. And that's the kind of thing, that's the easy low-hanging fruit, and we're going to start right there, because women today make 84 cents for every dollar a man makes. Single women are the ones that bring the numbers so high. But when you're a working mom, or you're the single head of household, or you are an African-American woman, you're making 58 cents for every dollar a man makes. If you're a Latina, you're making 44 cents for every dollar that a man is making. This is absolutely wrong, morally wrong. And so we are going to move forward with this bill, and I look forward to working with all of you to make it happen. To follow up on what Carmen said about voting. Your voice is, or your vote is truly your voice. If you don't speak up, if you don't go to the ballot box, nobody is going to care what you think. If you want to be heard, you've got to vote. If you are eligible to vote, you've got to register, and you've got to get to the polls. Because if there are issues about which you care deeply, you have got to let your elected officials know that. If you aren't going to vote, they aren't going to care. That's just a fact of life in a democracy. We are supposed to be listening to the voice of the people.